The English comedian Jerry Hardy has said that the interesting thing about family history is that gap between the things we think we know about our families and the realities. Well, such are the discoveries when we study our family's origins and history. And now imagine undertaking genealogy on a global scale as an international conference on Jewish genealogy comes to Fort Wayne in August 2025. We'll talk with conference planners all about it on this week's Primetime. And good evening, I'm Bruce Haines. With us today is Irv Adler, who is local chair for this conference and a founding member of the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogy Society. And joining Irv is Curt Witcher, Director of Special Collections and the Genealogy Center Manager at the Allen County Public Library. Irv, Curt, thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
This is really something, and it is quite a regional honor to have a conference of this scope and magnitude coming to our area. How special has this been? We have to do a genealogy to see, if nothing else, how this is getting to here. Tell me about that.
Well, it was kind of a surprise, and it really wasn't originally planned. But we had a visitor give a presentation to our society back in February 2020, right before COVID hit, and she was a past president of the International Association of Jewish Genealogy Societies, which I will now say IAJGS because it's a mouthful. Okay?
Yes, it is.
Well, her name is Marlis Humphrey, and she came in, and she had been here before, been to the Fort Wayne, been to genealogy conferences, knew Curt. And she came during the month of February, and you know what the month of February is like, but we had 3 or 4 of the most beautiful days you can possibly think of in February. So she was, kind of amazed by everything, the facility and the Grand Wayne Center and the Allen County Public Library, and she knew quite a bit about what the genealogy capability of Fort Wayne. And so the afternoon when she was heading back to the airport, I drove her back to the airport, and then I was talking to her, and she looked at me and she said, have you? And now this is only a couple of years. We were founded in 2018. She looks at me and she says, "Well, have you ever thought about hosting a genealogy conference in Fort Wayne?" And of course, I kind of almost lost it. I mean, it's the last thing in my mind that somebody's going to ask us if we were interested in hosting a conference. We'd only been around for 2 years, and we were very formative stages. But then I had some other conversations with her. And I also spoke to some other people at the IAJGS, and they suggested we consider that. And I went to the board, and I said, well, I've been hearing from people at the IAJGS, and they were interested in us considering a conference. And that was, and the rest is just history.
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do with the fact, and Curt will talk about this, about the fantastic genealogy center, world-class genealogy center that we have in Fort Wayne. It's second largest in the world other than the one in Salt Lake City, but it has a lot of other advantages. It's easier to get to, it's public facility, all the materials are available, and Curt will talk about that. But Fort Wayne, as everybody knows, is an exceptionally dynamic city. The things that have happened in this city for the last 20 years have really been quite amazing. The Grand Wayne Conference Center was like designed for the kind of conference we're going to have. Yeah. So we're very, we were given the opportunity, then we went through whatever we had to go through, and then we were given it to us officially, and we're just very, very excited about it.
Curt, the power of attraction, obviously, for genealogists or those of us who would like to be one in a second life to
Right.
One of us in a family seems to always be charged with stewarding the family history, but that has been a real draw for this region, the center, and now 800 to 1,000 other people are dropping by in August.
That's our anticipation, and that's our goal. You're exactly right, Bruce. And as Irv was just articulating, it's really the convergence of some really wonderful, beautiful things. This is a great community. I mean, we here in the community know it's a great community, but people from the outside are noticing it as well. The Genealogy Center and the Allen County Public Library. The Allen County Public Library is a terrific institution. Everyone who comes enjoys the facility, enjoys the service, and if they're interested in family history, oh my goodness, it's like they've gone to Mecca. And then the partnership we have with the Visit Fort Wayne, with the Grand Wayne Center and the downtown lodging properties and the library, it's a match made in heaven. And people come here, they can't help but be impressed.
Yeah, and now, as they say, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. So August 14 and 15 sounds like a long time from now.
It's going to go fast, very fast.
Yeah, in fact, there was an informational meeting or an expositional sort of gathering, I believe, not long ago here about learning a little bit more about the conference activity.
The conference planners did a site visit here, along with their meeting planner. And I always smile because they come here to Fort Wayne and they're blown away. They're just really positively impressed with everything, with the city, accessibility, the facilities, and of course the library and its Genealogy Center.
And over 45 years of this conference, there have been some large dots on a map too, where this has been held, and it's a nice company of which to be a part.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key reasons the Fort Wayne was chosen. It has its location is excellent, and many people don't realize that probably about almost half the population of the United States is within a 500-mile radius of Fort Wayne. So it's a huge population to draw from. And not only that, I did a little demographic study probably about a year and a half ago and determined that there's almost 1 million people that identify themselves as Jewish within this 500-mile radius. So there's a huge population to draw from. And we also find more and more that as people do DNA, they find out that, lo and behold, they have Jewish heritage. And some of them become very interested in tracing that heritage. So this conference, we're trying to reach out to these people who have never been to a genealogy conference because it's very easy to get to Fort Wayne and it's very affordable. We have a fantastic venue and we are planning to have a fantastic conference. And again, the genealogy capability that exists in the Allen County Public Library, which is going to be very available to all the conference attendees, is fantastic.
And as you mentioned, those from a variety of heritages have a chance to interact, and we interact with them as well. Every day we bump into people who are similar but have their own unique stories, as Curt would mention. But a perfect case in point is the overview of Jewish history in our area that's been prepared for this conference. It's a wonderful place to be. Take a look.
Fort Wayne, Indiana, a city where history flows as richly as its 3 rivers, the St. Joseph, St. Mary's, and Maumee. Originally the Miami village of Kikionga. Today, we dive into Fort Wayne's past, highlighting the remarkable Jewish community and other fascinating tales of this vibrant Midwestern hub. Our story begins in the 1820s with the arrival of John Jacob Hayes, Fort Wayne's first Jewish resident. Hayes came here as an Indian agent and was among the early pioneers, navigating life in what was then the American frontier. Around the same time, Johnny Appleseed roamed these parts. Yes, he was real, and yes, he wore a tin hat. Today, Fort Wayne celebrates his legacy with an annual festival, because who doesn't love a sticky caramel apple? Back to our Jewish community. The mid to late 1800s saw a wave of German Jewish immigrants, bringing new energy and traditions. They integrated with Fort Wayne's large German population, blending cultural practices and languages.
Prost.
The Jewish community quickly set up essential institutions like a cemetery and places of worship. The Nerdlinger House, right in current-day downtown Fort Wayne, served as an early meeting spot for the Achduth V'Sholem congregation. The congregation, which is still a cornerstone of Jewish life here, was founded in 1848, the same year Brooklyn's first Jewish congregation was established. It's like Fort Wayne and Brooklyn are spiritual twins, minus the subway delays and constant honking. The late 1800s brought a new wave of immigrants from Eastern Europe who were fleeing to escape violent anti-Semitic pogroms. In 1912, B'nai Jacob was founded after a cemetery issue arose. But let's not dig into that right now. The Jewish community didn't just settle, they thrived and contributed significantly to Fort Wayne's economic, civic, and philanthropic development. They also changed Fort Wayne's skyline. A.M. Strauss, a prominent Jewish architect, designed the Lincoln Tower. Completed in 1930, it was the tallest building in Indiana for decades. After World War II, Fort Wayne experienced post-war economic prosperity. Downtown buzzed with life, featuring many thriving Jewish-owned businesses. The Jewish community continued to contribute significantly to the city's economic and philanthropic landscape, a legacy that is reflected in many aspects of life in Fort Wayne. Today, Fort Wayne is home to Congregation Akduth V'Shalom, which offers both Reform and traditional services, as well as the Chabad Jewish Center. The city also hosts 2 Jewish cemeteries and the Jewish Federation of Fort Wayne, which founded Camp Joe Levine, a summer camp, in 1979. Fort Wayne's Jewish history reflects the broader American Jewish experience, standing as a testament to the resilience, adaptability, and community support that have defined both the Jewish community and the city of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Celebrating so many heritages and the cultural diversity therein, all in a singular place, the Genealogy Center at the Allen County Public Library. Truly a unique resource. Curt, how did we get to be so lucky?
Well, it was actually the aspirations of a director back in the last century who really thought that genealogists needed to be served better in public library settings, and that was just like a match to kindling. It just took off. So it grew from a couple hundred volumes to 1.2 million physical volumes, a great collection of databases, and a really great team who's really dedicated to helping people find their stories. And that's just where the magic happens.
And that's where we're going next. It is a pleasure to have Curt with us physically, but to have him also in video form so we can all see more of the Genealogy Center at the Allen County Public Library. We can manage that too. Let's take the tour.
Welcome to the Allen County Public Library. For more than 125 years, this library has been an integral, important part of this community. We literally are dedicated to lifelong learning, and we have something for everyone here at the main library. Here, we also find the Genealogy Center. Since 1961, the Genealogy Center has welcomed patrons who are interested in finding their stories. Through an amazing collection of physical materials, print, microtext, online materials, and staff expertise, one can really take advantage of the world of family and local history to find one's unique story. Let's take a look. We have over 1.2 million print and microtext resources. We license all the major databases that complement a really amazing print collection. Because we believe that context is so important in finding our stories, we subscribe to every single genealogical and historical and ethnic periodical in North America, in the British Isles, and in places in Europe. It's literally a block long. Here we're in the beginning of the state records section. These are records from county archives that may not exist anywhere except in that county. So we have nearly 80,000 print city directories and another several thousand on microfilm that put people in a place at a time and tell you who their neighbors are. Many people can find pieces of their family story in these books.
One of the biggest positives is that all of our stuff is OpenStax, so you don't have to make a request for something that's held off-site and then wait a week. All of our stuff is here and ready for you to find your family story pretty organically.
We have hundreds of translated memorial books that have been done by Jewish Gen. We also have hundreds of original Yizkor books. A lot of them are in Yiddish, and we'll take some assistance. That assistance is readily available both online and in the Genealogy Center here. We have one entire room dedicated to published family histories. We have tens of thousands of family histories in this room. Even in the less sourced family history, we can help people find clues to information on their family stories.
No matter what you might need help with, there is a senior librarian here to help you. If you need an expert in Ukrainian research, if you need a DNA expert, we have someone here.
If there's a question, if there's a hole in your ancestral chart in finding your Jewish family stories, we can help you find the answer. We personalize your research experience. You really have a lot of resources right here. We would love to help you find more of your family stories here in the Genealogy Center. Enjoy your trip here because we believe you'll enjoy your experience with us.
And we'll share information at the close of the show as well. But again, if you would like to connect to see how your journey can begin if you are interested in pursuing genealogy, genealogycenter.org at the Allen County Genealogy Center is the way to go. And the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogy Society sounds like they've been involved in a project of their own too, something called the Fort Wayne Jewish Families Project.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty fantastic. As you heard in that one of the earlier films, the history of the Jewish community in Fort Wayne goes back over 200 years. And Betsy Gephardt, who was one of the prominent people in that Genealogy Center video, she began this project very shortly after we started the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogy Society. And she has a database of over 7,000 people that are in this database, and probably close to 7,400. And interestingly enough, that today we got an email from somebody who saw our November 10th outreach or knew about it and was interested in joining the society called JGS. And he said in his email that his great-great-grandsters came to Fort Wayne, and he wanted to get his name in that database. So out of Hong Kong, we have somebody. So this is it's a fantastic project. It's available through Ancestry, this database that we have. And I said Betsy Gephardt was the one that really started the project and managed the project. And I wouldn't say with certainty that we have everybody, but we have a large number, and we're always looking for more people so we can put together really the Jewish history of Fort Wayne.
And there's the German history and the Irish history and the Scottish history,
Right.
I mean, and Curt, it's all under one roof, which seems like logistically impossible.
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about the Genealogy Center is we try to be as comprehensive as possible in what we collect and in the databases that we provide access to and in the staff's expertise. And we really love organizations like the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogy Society because they help bolster our collection and our information.
And we don't have enough time for it, but I do want to have you share some of it, and folks can find the article too. But the story in your life took a turn, and through your research, and you and your wife, Fran, ultimately it leads to a book called Then and Now, but this is about letters written to your mother by her mother and the
other
dialogue.
relatives.
And other relatives. Share that.
Well, let me first start off by saying that I never heard of the word genealogy before I started this. And now I know quite a bit about it. But in August 2010, my wife and I took a trip to Vienna. And as part of that trip, we found out that my grandmother was killed in a very bad place called Molly Trotzenitz. And when I went home, I was trying to find some more information. And I remembered that I had this trunk, this which is the picture that's on the cover of the book, that had it's my mother's archives. I pulled that out, and lo and behold, I discovered this package of letters. And then I carefully went through them, and I identified more than 100 letters. It's probably close to 110, but I used 102 to put the book together. And when I saw these letters, I realized this was something special. So over the years, took a few years, but I had them translated by a person, actually two people living in Fort Wayne. One, Joy Douglas, who at the time was a student, and later on by Carol Jackson, who's a longtime resident of Fort Wayne. And they really helped me with the translations and the transcriptions. And now I'm retranslating it, the letters, because I improved my German by working with Dr. Sue Roberts at PFW to really improve my German so I can pretty much translate anything. So I learned a tremendous amount about family members I never had heard of. About 1/4 of my family, my mother was never able to talk about anything. So I discovered all these names and these letters, and then I started researching them. And that's the beginning of my genealogical journey. And I've taken it back all the way to my great-great-great-grandparents.
Yeah, I don't want to leave out the Israeli cousin.
Yes. So there's one part of it is the story of the Jews under Nazi occupation in Vienna, and the second story is it's a really serendipitous story, where as a result of a series of events, I wind up finding that I have my last living relative, the last relative that actually survived the Holocaust and is still alive. His name is Shaul Spielman. He lives in Israel. He's 93 years old. He has a fantastic family. He has 18 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. He survived all the camps, and I met him for the first time in July 2014. And a month ago, he didn't know I was alive, and I didn't know he was alive, a month prior to that meeting.
Yeah. What do you've probably heard that before, and
he knows
we've all read about
probably.
it before, and you've been intimately connected. How does that make you feel as a genealogist?
Well, it just points out the power of story and how important finding your story is in people's lives. It's really important.
Yeah, and we all have one, and you can help give voice to that. I'm imagining between now and again next August, it's going to be a very busy time. What are some of the next steps for you both in the conference planning as you look ahead?
Well, thanks to you, we're getting the opportunity to reach a lot of people. Really, one of the main objectives we have is to basically spread our tentacles as far as we possibly can. As I said earlier, there's almost half the population of the United States lives within a 500-mile radius. There's almost 1 million people identify themselves as Jewish who live in this radius, this 500-mile radius. Many of these individuals have never attended a conference. And what we were trying to do, one of the key premises for deciding to have the conference, and making the decision to have the conference in Fort Wayne, was we're in a great location, it's very affordable, it's very easy to get there, we have a fantastic venue, and we have a fantastic genealogy center. It's world class. To leverage those capabilities, to go out and reach these people who have never attended a conference, and have them come to Fort Wayne and attend really a great conference and walk out knowing a lot more when they leave than when they came.
What I love, Curt, please.
And it's really exciting for us to be able to have a research center here in the Genealogy Center that helps people find their stories, because everyone has a story. And if the conference can draw them here, if they can learn from experts, and then actually practice what they've learned at the conference over in the Genealogy Center and get more assistance, I mean, it's really a wonderful combination.
And what's also lovely is you not only have the vehicle, but you give lessons on how to drive. I believe online there always is a program or a gathering.
A couple programs a week, yes, online, absolutely.
Just stuff going on. And for those who, like myself, who have that shoebox, what's my next step? How do I get going?
Well, every hour the library is open. Someone can walk in with a real shoebox or a proverbial shoebox,
yeah.
And our team will assist you in best next steps. Like, where do I go from here? How do I understand this? What databases do I use? What's my strategy? Who do I need to reach out to? We have someone that can walk with you through the beginning of that journey or continue on with you through the journey.
And just like in your case, Irv, I mean, those can be life-changing connections.
Yeah, you discover things that you never knew. When you find something that you never knew existed, it's really incredible. And especially it's life-changing, because it's all about where you come from. Where you come from has a big effect on where you're going. And it's really important to know that. And I think genealogy is what it really helps you, know where you came from.
We have a chance for you to also go back to your future, and you can do it several ways. Here's one, August 10 through 14, the Jewish Genealogy expertise of the 45th Annual International Conference on Jewish Genealogy coming to Fort Wayne. There's the website. Also, if you would like to be in touch on a local level to connect with friends and colleagues and make new friends as well, the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogical Society is right there, as you see. And then another resource, it's always open online, the genealogycenter.org. And
That's a great website.
there it is. Yes, and again on the conference, IAJGS2025.org. Irv Adler is a founding member of the local society and also on the planning team for this gathering next year. Curt Witcher is a natural resource at the Genealogy Center at the Allen County Library, as well as Director of Special Collections. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And for all of us, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your evening. For Primetime, I'm Bruce Haines. Take care. Good night. The preceding program on PBS Fort Wayne was made possible in part by...
Since 1921, the Jewish Federation has been serving Greater Fort Wayne. Today, on the Rifkin campus on Old Mill Road, the Jewish Federation continues its good work by encouraging a cohesive community. Information at fwjf.org.